Hi, welcome to this quick mini lecture on strategy, focusing more on human nature, politics, and possibly even a grand theory of strategy. So Colin S. Gray, he's Professor Emeritus of Strategic Studies at the University of Reading. Right? He's been quoted as saying that strategy is not a modern invention, right? But it is an essential and enduring feature of human history that is here to stay. He argues that there is a grand theory of strategy that applies at all times, places, and circumstances. However controversial his statements and arguments might be, he's published a book called The Future of Strategy, which he expands upon this notion. And what he talks about is the idea that there are critical components of strategy, and two of those being human nature and politics. The first is this idea that human nature, right? We have these historical writings, and we have no difficulty understanding ancient authors such as Herodotus, Plato, or even Thucydides. Right? Even though these individuals wrote 2,500 years ago, right, we can still understand them. We can still place them. He has this notion that human beings, as both individuals and as a society, right, we have a common nature, in that the characteristics we encompass, we portray, we see, we express, they transcend time and place. Regardless of the material, the culture, the time, right? These individuals were writing about people subject to many of the same pressures we face today, and that will most likely face in the future, and our successors will face in the future. He also had this idea that Thucydides was a great historian of the Peloponnesian War, and he summarized it in terms of human nature as well as politics, and three inclusive concepts, which he called fear, honor, and interest. And Thucydides said that our political forms, right, regardless of when they might be or where they might be or what, they varied widely, right, but they all had a common interest, in that common sense of purpose of providing a greater human security, overarching of which was a strategy. So a strategy which encompassed human nature, this historical writing, these politics, and so Colin Gray is trying to put this all together into a grand theory of strategy. So he actually has 23, I think, separate facets, or dicta, which he calls them. And some of them are right here, right, which he talks about as the nature and character of strategy. Some of the other ones he talks about are making strategy, executing strategy. But I just want to discuss some of the things that he has considered to be the nature and character of strategy. So this first concept here is the grand strategy, right? Grand strategy is the overall direction and use made of any or all assets of a community. In this instance, we're talking about the military system security community. So we're including its military instruments for the purposes of policy as decided by politics. Military strategy is slightly different in that it's the direction and use made of force and threat for the purposes of policy, right, as decided by politics. And the idea then is that strategy is only a bridge, right? It's only a bridge built and held to connect policy purposefully with the military and other instruments of power and influence. And the idea is that then strategy, right, serves politics by generating a net strategic effect. Think of economics, right? There's positives and benefits, and we hope that it's on the plus column. And then the idea is that strategy is adversarial, right? It's competitive, and it's adversarial in both war and peace, right? When we always seek a measure of control over our enemies, and often our allies and neutrals as well. There's also this idea that strategy is human, right? Strategy can be prone to change or is error, but then there's a permanent nature to strategy, right? Strategy itself, right? The grand strategy has a permanent nature, while strategies, small s then, like plans, formal strategies, operational, informal strategies, tactical strategies, they have a variable component based upon changing demands. So just to give you a slightly different perspective on strategy outside the business world from more of a militaristic perspective, I hope this is interesting for you. If you'd like to learn more, Colin S. Gray wrote the book, The Future of Strategy, in 2015. It's available, I believe, on Amazon. It's just an interesting read for anybody interested. All right, have a great day.